Liberia's educational standing in Africa and what can be done to improve it. Education is one of the most powerful tools for national development, social transformation, and economic growth. Across Africa, countries are investing in education to build human capital and reduce poverty. However, the quality and accessibility of education vary widely across the continent. Liberia, a West African nation recovering from years of civil conflict and health crises, continues to face significant challenges in its education sector. Despite progress in rebuilding schools and expanding access, Liberia's education system remains among the weakest in Africa in terms of quality, infrastructure, and learning outcomes. Understanding Liberia's current educational standing and identifying strategies for improvement are essential for shaping a more equitable and prosperous future. Liberia's educational standing in Africa. Literacy and enrollment. Liberia's literacy rate is among the lowest in Africa. According to UNESCO and World Bank data, adult literacy stands at approximately 48%, compared to the African average of around 70%. Primary school enrollment has improved since the end of the Civil War, with gross enrollment rates exceeding 90%. However, completion rates remain low as many students drop out before finishing primary school. Factors such as poverty, child labor, early marriage, and limited access to secondary education contribute to this problem. In contrast, countries like Ghana, Kenya, and Rwanda have achieved higher literacy and completion rates through sustained investment in education and effective policy implementation. Quality of education. The quality of education in Liberia remains a major concern. Many schools lack trained teachers, adequate learning materials, and proper infrastructure. A national assessment conducted by the Ministry of Education revealed that a large proportion of students completing primary school could not read or perform basic arithmetic. Teacher absenteeism, overcrowded classrooms, and outdated curricula further undermine learning outcomes. In comparison, countries such as Botswana and Mauritius have invested heavily in teacher training, curriculum modernization, and technology integration, resulting in stronger educational performance and higher literacy levels. Infrastructure and resources. Liberia's education infrastructure is still recovering from years of conflict and the Ebola epidemic. Many schools, especially in rural areas, operate without electricity, clean water, or sanitation facilities. Some schools conduct classes under trees or in makeshift structures. The lack of adequate infrastructure contributes to poor attendance and low learning outcomes. While urban centers like Monrovia have seen some improvements, rural communities continue to face severe disparities. In contrast, countries such as South Africa and Morocco have made significant progress in expanding school infrastructure and ensuring equitable access to educational resources. Higher education and technical training. Liberia's higher education sector faces challenges of limited capacity, outdated programs, and inadequate funding. Universities and technical institutions often lack modern laboratories, research facilities, and qualified faculty. As a result, graduates frequently struggle to meet the demands of the modern labor market. In comparison, countries such as Nigeria, Egypt, and Kenya have developed stronger tertiary education systems that emphasize research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Liberia's limited focus on technical and vocational education further constrains its ability to produce skilled workers for key sectors like agriculture, construction, and information technology. Factors contributing to Liberia's educational challenges. Economic constraints. Liberia's economy remains heavily dependent on foreign aid and natural resource exports, leaving limited domestic funding for education. Public expenditure on education is below the recommended 20% of the national budget, restricting investments in teacher salaries, infrastructure, and learning materials. Many families cannot afford school fees, uniforms, or textbooks, leading to high dropout rates. Governance and policy implementation. Weak governance and inconsistent policy implementation have hindered progress in the education sector. Although Liberia has developed several education sector plans, execution often falls short due to corruption, poor coordination, and lack of accountability. Decentralization efforts have been slow, leaving local schools with limited autonomy and resources. The absence of reliable data also makes it difficult to monitor progress and evaluate the effectiveness of policies. Social and cultural barriers. Cultural attitudes toward education, particularly for girls, continue to affect enrollment and retention. Early marriage, teenage pregnancy, and gender-based violence contribute to high dropout rates among female students. Additionally, poverty forces many children into informal labor, reducing school attendance. In rural areas, Traditional beliefs and gender roles often discourage girls from pursuing education beyond the primary level. Impact of conflict and health crises. The Civil Wars 1989-2003 and the Ebola outbreak 2014-2016 devastated Liberia's education system. Schools were destroyed, teachers displaced, and learning disrupted for years. The psychological and economic aftermath continues to affect both students and educators. Many children who missed years of schooling during these crises never returned to the classroom, creating a generation of youth with limited literacy and employable skills. Strategies for improving Liberia's education system. Strengthening early childhood and primary education. Investing in early childhood education lays the foundation for lifelong learning. Expanding access to pre-primary programs, training early childhood educators, and providing adequate learning materials can improve literacy and numeracy outcomes. Strengthening primary education through curriculum reform and continuous teacher training will ensure that students acquire essential skills for future learning. Enhancing teacher training and professional development. Teachers are central to educational quality. Establishing teacher training colleges, offering continuous professional development, and improving compensation can attract and retain qualified educators. Introducing performance-based incentives and mentorship programs can further enhance teaching effectiveness. Partnerships with international organizations can also help upgrade teacher training standards and methodologies. Expanding technical and vocational education. Developing a robust technical and vocational education and training TVET system can address skills gaps and reduce youth unemployment. Partnerships with industries can align training programs with labor market needs, while investment in modern workshops and equipment can improve practical learning. Encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation through vocational programs can empower young people to create their own employment opportunities. Leveraging technology for learning. Digital learning platforms can bridge gaps in access and quality, especially in remote areas. Introducing computer literacy programs, online teacher training, and digital libraries can enhance learning outcomes. Initiatives like Agape Academy's Early College High School IT program demonstrate how technology can be integrated into secondary education to prepare students for the digital economy. Expanding internet access and providing affordable devices can further support digital learning. Improving infrastructure and learning environments. Rebuilding and upgrading school facilities is essential for safe and effective learning. Prioritizing rural areas, ensuring access to clean water and sanitation, and providing electricity can create conducive learning environments. Public-private partnerships can mobilize resources for infrastructure development. Community involvement in school construction and maintenance can also promote sustainability and ownership. Promoting gender equality and inclusion. Policies that support girls' education, such as scholarships, mentorship programs, and safe school initiatives, can reduce gender disparities. Inclusive education programs should also address the needs of children with disabilities and those from marginalized communities. Raising awareness about the importance of girls' education through community outreach can help change cultural attitudes and increase female enrollment. Strengthening governance and accountability. Transparent management of education funds, community participation in school governance, and regular monitoring can improve accountability. Establishing data-driven decision-making systems will help track progress and identify areas for intervention. Strengthening the capacity of the Ministry of Education and local education authorities can ensure more effective policy implementation and resource allocation. Liberia's education system stands at a critical juncture. While progress has been made in expanding access, significant challenges persist in quality, equity, and relevance. Compared to many African nations, Liberia lags behind in literacy, infrastructure, and higher education outcomes. However, with strategic investments, effective governance, and innovative approaches, the country can transform its education sector into a driver of national development. Strengthening early education, empowering teachers, expanding vocational training, and leveraging technology are key steps toward building a resilient and inclusive education system. By prioritizing education as a national development goal, Liberia can equip its youth with the knowledge and skills needed to compete in a rapidly changing world and contribute meaningfully to the nation's progress. Long live Liberia, and God bless Mama Africa, the birthplace of humanity.